Well, it's going to be a big day on the battery project today. We're going to be dropping in the new HumSync lithium-ion batteries today. It's going to take a couple days of work to get everything done, including installing the new battery charger and all that. But we're going to at least try to drop the batteries in today. Let them run for a while. They're at 100% charge now, or 99%. But we're going to drop them in, power the boat with them. And tomorrow, and then I'm going to go out for a sail today because it's a pretty decent day. And then tomorrow we'll come back. It's not nice weather. We'll get the battery charger installed, see how the batteries held up on an overnight without shore power, running a fridge. And we'll go from there. But I'll have a little bit more as we get this project started. So I've got a whole checklist here that we're going to go through. We won't do all of that today, but we're going to do the first part. So remove the old batteries. We're going to do some little Tetris exercise here to see what's the best way to fit these batteries in. We got to get a battery strap. I didn't buy it yet, so we'll have to pull them back up to do that. We're going to hook up put them in parallel, add the fuse, reprogram the Renogy battery monitor, turn the batteries on. Right now in the BMS I have them turned off, and test the function. So we'll give that a try. Step one is to get the old batteries out of here, which is right now. All right, well, the old batteries are out, so that's good. I'm gonna think about and just try moving the starter battery, which is a lead acid battery, bringing that to the middle of the boat in this side of the compartment. The new lithium-ion batteries weigh, I can't remember, I think it said 23 or 26 pounds. Pick them up with one hand. The old golf cart batteries, I can't lift it up with one hand. I think they're about 90 pounds. So we're going to have a lot of weight savings. And I think if I move the starter battery over here, if it cables and everything work, it'll keep it closer to the center line, and then I'll have room for the lithium ion on the other side. We'll give that a try. Well, after a little bit of playing Tetris here, I think I figured out how I'm going to put them. I'm going to need to put a brace on this side. The batteries don't really fit in the battery boxes because of these ears that stick out. So it won't sit all the way down in the battery box. So I'm going without them. They don't really need them since they don't have acid in them. But I will have to move that brace over to box them in, and then I need a strap to strap them down. But we'll get that set up here soon. I moved the Renogy Smart Shunt just a little bit to make cable management a little bit easier. And next I'm going to start hooking up the new batteries. One of the things that I have to change is the fusing on my new battery bank. So originally I used the only bank I had, start bank, or the house bank, as my starter. The little Yanmar 2GM starts fine, on just about anything. However, the first time I started the boat with this fuse in place at the dock, or in the slings, actually getting ready to launch the boat, the engine quit working. Like, it wouldn't turn over. And the problem was I had a 30 amp fuse in here, and the starter current was way more than that, and it blew the fuse right away. So that day I had to bypass the fuse, just took it off real quick, got the engine started, and then I replaced the 30 amp fuse with a 50 amp fuse. Or no, it's like a 300 amp fuse, I believe. something like that. So with the new setup, we are not going to fuse the starter battery. Maybe controversial, maybe not. But we are going to fuse the house bank, and we are going to go back to a 30 amp fuse on the house bank. So that's what I need to put on next. One nice thing about these lithium batteries is they give you two different sets of bolts to go in to the terminals, a short one and a longer one. And when I put the fuse and the parallel cable, the short one is just a little too long, so I'm going to switch this one and make it a longer bolt. And like we did on the positive post with the extra stuff, we're also going to do the same thing on the negative post. It's going to have the parallel cable plus a couple of the ground cable and some other connections. So we'll use the longer one there, and we'll use the standard size on that one. Well, we're getting closer, so we've got the battery hooked up. I'm just getting ready to turn on the power switch. Now the batteries are still in what I presume will be off mode. Like, well, maybe not, because I just turned the VHF on and I got juice. Let me check the batteries real quick, see how I left the BMS. I made a bit of an error. So when I turned on the power, I wasn't expecting anything to fire up on the DC side, because as far as I know, I left the BMSs turned off on those batteries. And then I began to think, well, maybe I left one of them on. They're each 100 amp battery or 12 volt battery, so it would run. But as I was thinking about that, it dawned on me, I don't want the battery charger on right now. So this is my old charger is wired up here, and it is wired into the system. So I don't really want it charging because it doesn't have a lithium ion charge program. So as soon as I turned off the battery charger, my VHF went out. So what that tells me is the juice wasn't coming from the batteries. It was coming from the battery charger, almost like the battery charger was a power supply. So that makes me feel a little bit better. Now I'm going to check the BMS on the batteries. So this is what I was expecting to see. These two little switches here are the charge and the discharge. And I, at least on this battery, thought that I left them off yesterday. So let's double check the other one real quick. This is the HumpSync BMS app. You know, it works okay. The one drawback I found so far is it does not let you look at individual cells in the pack. I wrote to them and they said their engineers are working on an upgrade to the app, but right now all you can see is the total, pack voltage, discharge and things like that, but you can't see individual cells, so you don't know for sure how well the balancing, the BMS balancing thing works. But in both cases, I have both the charge and discharge turned off in the BMS. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to turn them on. So they should work like a normal battery. I think I just heard a beep behind me, which means my VHF radio just came back on. So right now only one of the batteries is providing juice, but because they're in parallel, I have power. So I'm going to flip on the other battery at the same time here. And that should do it. So now we've got both batteries turned on and power going to the system now. I have my refrigerator turned on, so that's probably what's drawing most of the amps right now. That fridge, when it's running, can draw up to 4 or up to 6 amps, I think. So that's where the main draw is. And it'll be interesting to see how the batteries do overnight without a charge source and having the fridge on. I'll be keeping a close eye during the day today. All right, well, let's see if we've got everything done on the list. So we took the old batteries out. I'm going to take them to the car here in a minute. We checked the fit. We didn't use the old boxes. They're too small. We got to get a strap still. I'll get that tomorrow. So I'll have to lift those batteries up. But that's okay. I also have to put in another little bar at the bottom. We hooked up the parallel cables. We added or changed to the 30 amp fuse. We reprogrammed the Renogy battery monitor. Really all we had to do is show the new capacity. So the old golf cart batteries had a 215 amp hour capacity when they were in series at 12 volts. Now we have 200 amp hours, but way more usable batteries. We turned on the BMS for the batteries. We turned on the switch, the battery switch. So right now we're using this 1-2, all off switch, really just as a use switch. So between on and off, that's all we're really using it for. Maybe someday we'll change this out, but probably not right away. So really we don't use these two, but we'll worry about that later. All right, so right now it shows on the Renogy that we're drawing about 8 watts of power, 0.68 amps coming out. The battery voltage says 12.8. Now, one of the things that I do notice is that between the Renogy and the actual battery, if I check it right at the battery, it'll be different. And part of that, I'm sure, is because we do have a load on the battery, so it is, it's going to show that. In the BMS, it shows 13.26 on this one, drawing about 1 amp. I think that's it. I don't have my glasses on right now. Yeah, current's 1 amp. And there's the 17 watts. Let's see what it shows over here. It only shows 1 watt over here, so that's a little interesting. We'll have to figure that out. And unfortunately, maybe, I can't see the combined bank. I can only look at one individual battery at a time. So if I look at the other battery down there, voltage is 13.27, still shows that 1 amp current, 13 watts of power being used, it says. And that's a temperature in Celsius. So I'm gonna have to understand a little bit of that, but so far I feel pretty good about it. Whenever I do this, hooked up these batteries, the one thing I do want to check, at least periodically today, is I just want to feel, the connections and make sure we don't have anything getting hot. I went around to make sure everything was tight, I think. Just want to make sure. Looks good. Something just happened to. For some reason my BlackBerry just reset. I don't know why. It seemed a little odd. Found the problem. Got to fix something real quick. I must have forgot to tighten this, because it is not tight. Well, that little guy was the problem. I don't know why, but it was really tight on the battery fuse post. So when I tightened down the nut, I thought it was tight. This thing was actually bound up on the post, and everything below it wasn't tight. Took a little bit of work to even get it off, but that was the culprit. So I've had my glitch for the day, I hope, and got the batteries reconnected and tight, and we're gonna go sailing here in a little bit. All right, so just a quick update. We are under sail. Autopilot's steering right now. So, you know, it's great to be able to look at the Renogy battery monitor, showing we're using about an amp of energy at the moment. Battery's still looking good, near 100%. And we've got a lot of stuff on, but the only thing that's really drawing much power right now are the instruments, the chart plotter, VHF, radio, and the big one's the fridge. But it's looking pretty good. Oh, gotta go. Okay, well, we had a little bit of a 3-hour sail. Just got back to the dock, and I was just checking out the battery situation. Right now, the Renogy shows we're at 198 amp hours out of 200, or still 100% essentially, 13.1 volts. That's maybe a little bit different than what each battery shows, but probably not significant. Although the battery, so they're both pretty close, off by 1 percentage point, but one of them shows 88% state of charge, which is a little odd to me maybe, but it's showing volts of 13.18. Not drawing any current right now. I have everything off except for the stereo and the fridge, and I'll be turning the stereo off shortly. So the fridge cycles on and off, so the compressor must be off right now. So I'm really not sure how to read the state of charge, because I don't really see where there's anything that shows what has been taken out of the battery exactly. They don't show you actual numbers, I guess. So the fridge is on now, and it's drawing almost 4 amps, it looks like, out of this battery. Now I still have to understand how that works. Does each battery show the same? Are they splitting that load? Probably. Let's just, for fun, go look at the other one real quick. So it's showing, a draw on it as well of 3.5 amps. So I don't know if you combine those. The Renogy isn't showing anywhere near that. It's showing 0.62 amps, or 8 watts of power going out. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to read up a little bit on that and try to understand it a bit better. But anyway, life is good. So right now I have the battery charger off, and I'm gonna leave it off because it's right now the old battery charger is wired to the number 1 post on this battery switch. So if I turn it on, it's going to back feed to the batteries, and I don't want that. It also means that my starter battery is not going to get charged tonight, but that's okay. The alternator is still connected to the starter battery, so it gets some juice when the engine's running, and it's almost brand new. So I'll check it in the morning and we'll see. So tomorrow's plan, it's not supposed to be sailing weather much because of a pretty strong north wind. So my plan tomorrow is to wire up the new Victron charger for the house bank, the lithium bank, and then rerun the old guest charger just to the starter battery. And that way I'll have, you know, a good battery for the lithium. I'll have a battery just to keep the lead acid battery charged up. And if anything ever happened with one or the other, we could always, you know, move the charging cable around some. But anyway, that's going to be tomorrow's plan. I think today we're going to call her quits at solo sailing and racing. Takes a lot out of me. I'm exhausted. And it's hot today. It's 91 in the boat and probably 91 outside. So it's a warm day. Anyway, so that's it for today. We'll have more tomorrow.